All right, man. That was fucking brand new right there. Solemn Lament. Fucking bad fucking ass, dude. That is heavy as fuck, man. Fucking love it, dude. Let's call these motherfuckers up right the fuck now and see what the fuck is going on in their world, man.
Hey, what's up, Zach?
Hey, Solemn Lament. What? What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Doing all right, man. Thanks for your interview.
Hell yeah, dude. So we have Justin and Phil Swanson on the line with us, correct?
Yeah, but I'm finding my way around here. Hold on.
Yep, I'm here.
So tell us, man, what is going on in the world of Solemn Lament?
Well, we recorded that 3-song EP, I guess you can call it, and that's the one that's up on Bandcamp. Right now we're securing a CD/LP release for it. There's going to be a tape of it coming out on Sword Worship. That's Arthur Rizek and Jason Tarpey's label from Eternal Champion. So
nice.
We're psyched about that, man. That's going to be cool. I mean that's kind of what we're doing right now. We're planning on an LP in the future, so we'll see how that goes.
Hell yeah, man. So tell us about the how did the recording process for this EP go?
The actual recordings. Okay, well, me and the rest of the guys in the band, minus Phil, went out. Well, the rest of the band is actually in California. I don't know if you knew that, but so me and Phil are the East Coast guys. Everyone else is on the West Coast. That's a long story. We can get into it if you want. Phil can even tell you all that. But so I went out to California in July, and we tracked the music. And then our friend Arthur Rizek, he recorded Phil later that month in Philadelphia at his studio.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was, I know it sounds like a weird process, but actually, it worked out totally awesome. It was easy to do. Everyone, was on their shit. They knew what they were doing. The engineers were great. Arthur was great. Phil was great. So I can't believe that it actually went so easy, because projects like this, the bi-coastal project thing, sometimes it's weird, but this was best case scenario.
I actually pretty much every record I've released except the first Hour 13 and the Sumerlands were recorded that way. It's always been, guys in Europe, and then I record here. I've been doing this since the very beginning, so it's real easy for me. And I kind of took it from the guys in Righteous Pigs and Napalm Death when they were doing Defecation. They were, I was reading about them sending their masters back and forth, and then once the internet happened, I was like, oh, this is going to be so much easier. You know what I mean? So I started doing it with Seamount. Well, actually, originally with Atlantean Codex, and then Seamount in Germany. You know what I mean? And I never even met those guys. I didn't even meet the guys from Seamount until after our second record when we went on tour. So.
Wow.
And you haven't even met the guys from Solemn Lament. I mean,
no. Yeah. So this is nothing new for me. Yeah. Or Briton Rites. This is the same. I've never been in the same room with Howie either.
That's unbelievable.
So. Hell yeah. Already got questions coming in from the listeners, man. They're heckling me. They're asking, how do you say the band's name? Did I butcher it, or did I say it right?
No, Solemn Lament. You got it.
It seemed pretty simple to me. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah. No, you got it, man. It's all good.
Tell us about the band name. How did you guys come up with that? Is there a story behind it?
Well, the guy, the guitar player, Eric, we have two guitar players, Adam and Eric, but Eric was the one who came up with the name. He had a song, a demo of a song, and he had called it Solemn Lament. And I forget, I can't remember if it's one of the songs that we use for the record. We have a lot of stuff. We just, to make it simple, we just recorded those 3 songs, and then we were gonna let's see what happened. But anyways, one of the songs was called Solemn Lament, and when we were figuring out band names, we were like, oh, we all liked it. It worked. Kind of fits the band. Kind of fits the music. So that's kind of how it went.
Oh yeah. Now, do you guys have any shows lined up, or?
we have 0 shows lined up.
Yeah, it's not even an appropriate time to do shows, if you ask me. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a mess. It's not even worth it. For me, it's hardly ever worth the effort anyway. But much less right now. I mean, we just canceled some dates, that I had in Germany and stuff, because 2 years running now, I was scheduled to go out there for Hammer of Doom like last year, and then again this year. And we're like, with the new variants and stuff, it's like, it's not worth the investment, because you don't even know if you're going to be able to play these shows. From one day to the next. The places are getting shut down all the time, so it's like, why bother?
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of like a liability. And listen, I'll be honest with you, when Eric Wagner passed away, it kind of shook me up a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking heavy, man.
Yeah, pretty heavy. So we'll see what happens in the future. Like I'm down to do stuff here or there, but like Phil said, right now, I'm not even thinking about it.
It really is crazy, man. Like watching it, just seeing how everything shut down, and it was just all just fucking done, and it was like everybody's like, fuck, what are we gonna do? And then things started seeming like they were gonna come back, and
yep.
After the first couple got announced, next thing you know, it was just show after show after show getting announced. I'm just seeing flyers everywhere, left and right. And
right, and I understand that people want to, they want to go out, they want to. It's been a minute. I totally understand that they want to play. People want to see live music, so I get that. I get it.
But people, as an audience, I don't know if they really realize the time investment that it goes into, setting up a tour, rehearsing for a tour, and then for me, I usually take 6 months to prepare, right? So if I'm preparing for 6 months with I don't know what's going on, and then it gets canceled, I've just lost 6 months of my life preparing for something that never happened. So, you want some sort of guarantee that after you invest all this time and effort into it, that it's actually going to happen. And right now, it's just, you never know. So
totally.
Yeah, it's really sad too. I mean, it almost seems like a lot of these bands are just being led to the slaughter. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too pessimistic, but seeing people drop left and right, it's just fuck. This ain't good.
In terms of dying, you mean?
Yeah.
Or in terms of Well, exactly. You know what I mean? I mean, I was shocked to hear about Eric and stuff, because I'm like, people are touring and not being vaccinated. You know what I mean? You're putting yourself in all these places that, you're putting yourself at potential risks. I mean, it's one thing for, somebody to go out on a Friday night in their town, but you're going to every town. So you're doubling down. You're making sure you're going to get it. You know what I mean? And that's, the guys from Exodus came back with it way back when, Death Angel, the whole tour, Testament, Death Angel, they all came back with it. It's it's unavoidable if you're going to put yourself in these environments. So, it's not worth the risk, on that level. I think it makes more sense if you want to, perform for people, just stream something. You know what I mean? Get in a club, get in a rehearsal room, stream, rehearse. I mean, I find it just as interesting myself, but,
Yeah, I've seen some pretty cool live streams that came out, especially last year, man. That was definitely, there was a lot of people doing that. It seemed like a cool thing, I mean, it's better than nothing.
Right. No, it ain't perfect, obviously. You want to be at the live gig. Nothing beats that. But like I understand what Phil's saying. You know what I mean? Like that's better than nothing. You know, it's cool.
My favorite live DVD is the Warlord DVD, where it's just them in an empty club, and that was like 1985.
That's
you know
cool.
what I mean? They were already doing that. You know, so I always. I mean, I was talking about one time with a friend of mine who owned a club in Norwalk, Connecticut, and we were talking about opening a record store when I was doing distribution and stuff, and a club in the back, and running the magazine I had at the time. You know, and
that's
just
like
interviewing
right
bands and putting them in a rehearsal room in the back, and just streaming that stuff. But the town we were in was not having it. The old Anthrax club used to be there, and so they're like, no, never again. So
yeah, that's hallowed ground, my friend.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So I take it. So I mean, you guys are already working on the next release. So you guys writing music and stuff like that, or you already have a lot of it already done?
Yeah, we have more songs. You know what I mean? Like I said, when we did this, we're like, okay, let's just work on 3 songs, get it out. Let's see what happens. But we have more songs like that are kind of either finished or in the works, and then Eric, the main songwriter, the main riffsmith, he has other stuff that I haven't heard yet, but he's busy right now with family stuff, work. So like we're gonna wait a little bit, but I'm eager to start working on it soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because Eric and I were working on, a ton of stuff. Like, I had met Eric when I was out in LA. I was like just out there, like just kind of camping out on the beach for like several months. And I'm like, I'm in California. There's got to be musicians out here, and there's not. But I was shocked. But I found Eric. You know what I mean? And he had some really, really cool ideas. And once Eric and Justin hooked up, they just kind of went off on this thing, you know what I mean? And they just got super involved with it. But I mean, even when I first met Eric, he had quite a bit of material that we were looking at. So
right, because Phil was the one that brought me in, because I didn't know Eric before that. And then when I heard the riffs, I was like, oh, like this is exactly what I want. It sounds UK. It reminded me of Shades of God era, Paradise Lost. I was like, this is exactly what I want to play. So me and him stayed in touch, and this is, what was this, like 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah. I kind of fell out of it because I moved to Arizona, out to Sedona, and it was just kind of, doing my own thing out there. I was just kind of lost in the desert, and Justin and Eric stayed in touch, and we're still going forward with it. So, I was out of my head for a little bit, and then they were like, no, let's do it. Justin kept going, come on, man. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let's do it.
Yeah, because and I talked about it with Drew, who's the bass player. Like once we started jamming the songs and we had rehearsals of them, we're like, fuck it, man. Like Phil has to sing on this. Like his voice would be perfect for it. Like we got it. He's the guy. We got to get him. So yeah. So then I just punished Phil like relentlessly and tried to get him to
and it was an interesting situation because like they had given me the music, but they had changed the arrangements again before I went in the studio. So I think Celeste was the only song that was written and kept intact, and then the other couple songs we were just like just riffing, like it was just throwing some lyrics together that I had pieced here and there, and working with melodies. And Eric and Justin were in the studio just kind of like coaching me through, showing me. Like I didn't even hear the whole song until it was all mixed and mastered. I was just getting the bits and pieces and just and singing them out. You know what I mean? I was familiar with bits, and when I originally arranged my vocals on the original demos, it was totally different. Like, one of the Old Crow, there's a completely different version of that, like lyrics and everything,
Right.
But their idea of the vocal arrangement versus mine was different. I said, well, let's not try to hash this out, through the internet and through phone calls and stuff. Like just let's meet in the studio and wing it. Cause I like to work like that anyway. Cause I like my first ideas, I don't like to overthink things. I like to just throw it out. So, and having them in the studio was a lot different than usually I work on my own. and it was just it just felt really, really good, like, to do it like that. And even going forward, I don't really want to change that. I want to kind of just put everything down in the studio, you know. So
yeah, and for sure, and Arthur also is a really good producer, because he'll tell you like, oh, okay, do this, that sucked, do that again, you know what I mean, like, and he knows what he's talking about, so he helped immensely, you know.
Yeah, and he pampers me enough that I can tolerate. he knows my temperament. He knows how sensitive I am. So he's like stroking me the whole time. And
yeah, no doubt. That's his job. That's like kind of why we pay him. You know what I mean?
Right on. Those demos you speak of, man. Is there any chance of those seeing the light of day at some point, or?
I mean,
I wanted to do the other version of Old Crow just to have it, you know what I mean? Just to have like an alternate version. So maybe, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Once you hear them done, it just sounds so much better. I mean, you know, Justin has a really great ear for range and stuff, and so he kind of reworked stuff and you know, and decided where stuff was going to be. You know, usually I kind of pick and chose my own parts, and so, but as I get older and do more projects, I'm more open to, you know, doing different things. You know, like when Briton Rites, you know, I was the first time I sang somebody else's lyrics and stuff like that, and it's just, you know, I want to experiment more and more. So it's like, let's just do it and see what comes out. So I felt more like an instrument in a way, you know, with a lot of in the studio, but it was fun like that. You know what I mean? It was just like, you know, just really ad-libbed, you know, and just in the moment. So it was cool.
But I can send you the demos, man. But like they're primitive as hell. But hey, if you want, if you got it, you know.
Man, hearing you say Briton Rites, man, you know, you're reminding me. I've been saying that one wrong all this time. I don't know why the fuck I've been saying Briton Rites for some reason.
I said it. I used to say it like that too, and Howie corrected me. Like, one thing you can't fuck around with Howie is pronunciation, you know, because he's a writer and stuff, and like, man, that dude is so deep, and singing those lyrics, it's like anything was just slightly off, I'd get all these corrections, and, you know, like I said, I'm super sensitive, so, you know, I don't like being corrected too much, and I was like, but I'm like, nah, I gotta do it, you know what I mean? I gotta put the ego aside. But yeah, so you weren't the only one. I used to call it Briton Rites myself, so.
Well, speaking of that, man, I know you guys are all from different bands, correct?
Yeah.
Can you give us like a rundown of the different bands that you've been in?
Just got the long list.
I mean, I'm not going to even begin with the bands that I have been in, but I can tell you what I'm in right now if you want to know. I play in a death metal band called Innumerable Forms. I actually don't play drums, and I sing in it. I play in a band that actually me and Phil were in together called Sumerlands. And let's see, what else? Oh yeah, I have a project right now called Dream Unending that I do vocals and play drums. We haven't released anything yet, but we're going to do a record in a couple of months. I got a hardcore band I play drums in called Woundman, and I think that's it actually. So yeah, besides Solemn Lament, of course. And Phil, I think Phil. I think you. I don't know what you have active right now, but he's got some shit.
Active. Well, I mean, active. There's a Smith and Swanson record coming out. I think in the winter. I'm not sure if it's this year or next year. You know, but before spring. It's been done for a while, and that's, you know, there's an EP online that people have heard, and that's coming out on No Remorse. And Briton Rites is kind of, I mean, we just released that record, but I recorded that over 6 years ago. You know what I mean? So I was happy to finally see that come out. But I hadn't worked on that forever. But Vestal Claret, it's kind of, you know, it's run its course. You know, I was happy with the last record, so you know, it's exactly what I want.
That one came out awesome. I'm really
and Justin was on that record as well. Yeah, so that was a cool record to do. But so I'm kind of like, I thought I was retired. That's why I left Sumerlands. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I'm kind of done with this stuff. So I don't know how much more I can do. I feel like sometimes, but then
well, I keep
you
pulling
get inspired. You back in, it's crazy. Well, yeah, but the reason I wasn't really pursuing Solemn Lament was because I wasn't clicking. There's a couple songs that were clicking and they weren't clicking, but it was that moment in time of where my head was at. You know what I mean? And then later, and Lords of Triumph, I never know what's going on with Martin. I mean, we're good friends. It's not like a bad thing. It's just, he'll come out of the blue and go, "Oh, I'm releasing this stuff." He has tons of stuff that I recorded vocals on that, he'll piece together, and next thing I know, there's an EP coming out. So who knows? But so I'm not really active with anything. I'm just kind of living life right now. So, and if I'm in the mood and music comes my way, it's hard for me to say no, because if I hear it and I'm like, oh, I hear something, this is going to be easy, but it's hard for me to commit to something, I'm not like searching for the next project, but at this point things kind of come my way. So
yeah. It definitely seems like they. I mean, you've got one hell of a list, man. Like, it's crazy. I didn't even know that you were in like quite a few different bands, man. I was familiar with you from Hour of 13, so I remember when that came out, and then I did an interview with Simon from Vestal Claret for the 2014 record, The Cult of Vestal Claret.
Right.
Yeah, and Briton Rites, of course. But yeah, man, I was looking up your thing online on Metal Archives, man, and I was just.
I think that Justin and I have the same kind of attitude. I mean, we just do whatever just for for fun. It's like whatever, man. Totally. People want to work with you, like I've said it in the past so many times. It's like when your friends are all musicians, even if you're not in the same band or project together, it's only a matter of time before you're like, fuck it, let's see what happens, and you do stuff, or you need somebody, like we needed a drummer for Vestal Claret, so I contacted Justin right away. Like it just happens. So for me to say I'm not going to do anything again, and then and a friend's going to call me up and ask me to do something, I'm not going to say no. It's just don't have anything really planned. I'm very happy with what I've done. So I used to be so fucking hungry. It was such a dream. You know what I mean? I just gave away every single record of my own that I have, like every color and every. I walked into a record store just out of the blue and put the box down and walked out, like you know what I mean. And it's got some super rare shit in there too, like you know what I mean. And I'm like, my kids don't want it. I'm not going to carry it around. You know what I mean? It's whatever. But it used to be like I used to just love this stuff, you know what I mean? And if CD came in I was on, it was just such a huge deal, you know what I mean? But I'm glad I did it. I'm not saying I'm taking it for granted. It's just, it's kind of part of my past more than my future, I think.
Well, with this EP, as far as like the songs, some of the lyrical content, can you give us like a rundown of that? Like,
yeah, they're all kind of like when I took the three songs and kept them separately, I all kind of heard them in different ways. Like one song I heard like Paradise Lost. One song I heard is like Anathema, and then the other song sounded like fucking My Dying Bride to me in a way. You know what I mean? So I kind of tried to approach them like in that way. Like the last song has a real obscure kind of arrangement and stuff like that, so that reminded me of early Anathema, and even though it was like, those were their death days, I wanted to do something clean. So it's all, my influence on this is all taken from the death metal days of those big three UK doom bands, but I wanted to go, what would they sound like, clean, Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing when I covered the Hibernoid track, with John Powers from Sumerlands. It was like originally they did like aggressive death kind of vocals, and I was like, yeah, but I'm hearing like gothy melodic stuff. So I approached lyrically kind of the same way. One song is just about me and my depression and social anxieties, and one is just kind of a kind of fantasy based song about a witch, putting a spell on some dude, trying to, you ever see these horror movies and it's like, this guy's banging the super hot chick and next thing you know, she's like this hideous witch. It's kind of like, Eric had the title Old Crow and that's the first thing I thought of. It's like some old ugly woman. And I'm like, what if, and it just made me think about those movies and I'm like, oh God, that would be such a fucking freak out. And then Celeste is just, I met somebody and I found their name so interesting and I started researching where it came from and then I just created this kind of mythos to go with the name about some angel, in the center of a universe who's kind of powering the universe by the amount of love that's given, and then, it kind of circulates and is given to everyone else in return. So, but
very
that's
cool.
it.
All right. Well, as far as your influences, man, can you tell us like what got you into music?
You want to go first, Phil?
Dude, I'm old and I've been around for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, everyone you talk to my age is probably going to say the same thing. AC/DC, Black Sabbath, Alice Cooper in the 70s, and then, everything new wave of British heavy metal, everything. That is my root right there. Like I just constantly listen to new wave of British heavy metal, but you're talking about just so many different bands. Like I'm so deep into it. Like Angel Witch is my all-time favorite band, and
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then Storm Witch. So Angel Witch and Storm Witch are my biggest influences band. That's where I get all my occult ideas from and stuff like that. So, but I'm also into thrash. Like I love thrash, crossover thrash. It has a little bit of punk. That's kind of my favorite style of music, genre of music. But, I used to do distro for all the doom and death metal bands, and black metal bands in the 90s, early 90s. So way into all that stuff. I like industrial, electronic, fucking gothic. It doesn't, it's just all over the place. And even Scandinavian girly pop is real big for me, So, but, pretty much anything. A lot of punk. I come from a punk background, so that was a big thing. And I think that's where like me and Justin and Arthur and all those guys kind of connect, because we all kind of have a punk or hardcore past, you know what I mean, that we're just expanding on. So I never take anything too seriously because I always have that little punk element that says I really don't give a fuck, like, you know what I mean, about how I sound or how people think, or, you know what I mean, if I forget stuff on stage, or, it's just really ultimately doesn't matter. It's just me hanging around with a bunch of guys, and, that's about it. So yeah,
let's see. Well, I'm not exactly young, you know what I mean? Like I'm 41, so like maybe I don't have my roots going back to the 80s, so I wish I did. I wish I was from the 80s. But for me, I guess growing up, the first kind of music I got into was like hard rock, Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. And then when I became a teenager, I got more into Metallica. Like Metallica kind of changed my life, you know what I mean? Like that was like the first time I heard like the fast beat, like fast music, you know what I mean? And like after that, I was like, I want, like, everything has to be fast, you know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of what got me into punk and hardcore, you know what I mean? Because I'd be like, holy shit, there's like an album where every song is fast. Like I can't believe it, you know what I mean? Like, so that, I got into hardcore from that. Big into hardcore, still am. I'll always be into punk and hardcore. I would say, yeah, towards the end of my teens, I got more into metal, Black Sabbath, more underground stuff, kind of death metal, black metal stuff that was happening at the time, stuff that I kind of just missed out on from the early 90s. Yeah, but like Phil, I have an eclectic taste. I like a lot of things, you know what I mean? A lot of goth, like you said, industrial, doom metal, death metal. That's kind of my passion, and that's why, when I heard Eric's riffs, I was like this is the band that I got to do. You know what I mean? Like that's why I kept in touch. Because I knew that if we could get it together, if we could just get it together, I knew that it would be cool. So that's kind of where I came from.
Hell yeah. I totally relate with you, man. I'm 43, and I remember, Iron Maiden, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then when Metallica came out, it just ruined everything. Like, it was like everything else just didn't seem, after that it was like, oh man, it's
like some of those bands weren't as cool anymore. But Metallica always repped Aerosmith, so I was like, nah, Aerosmith is cool for life. I don't care what they did. 87 on, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Like they're always going to be like cool to me.
Oh yeah. Well, the 70s stuff that they did.
It's incredible. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's like everyone, like the older guys with Ted Nugent. You know what I mean? We don't care who he is now and what he's saying.
Yeah.
But back then, that shit was the fucking best. You know what I mean?
Badass. Exactly.
Yeah, he's fucking nut, man. But his music from the 70s, fuck yeah, dude. That shit is.
Oh my God. You can't say anything about that.
I was having that discussion with Tim recently from Seamount, separating the artist from the art. You know what I mean? And then for me, it's a hypocrisy because I have the same situation. There's a lot of inappropriate stuff that I've touched on, with my music, and it haunts me, not personally, but it affects on the opposite side of things, like Ted Nugent, his personal persona is more negative than his music. But for me, you come across people and it's you go to work and you go into regular life and just they figure out who you are and they learn more about you, and then they Google you and they're like, holy fuck, that guy's fucked up. You know what I mean? So that's why I live my life very, very solitary. I'm tired of explaining myself to people and justifying what I've done and what I do. You know what I mean? If they can't see the art in it, then I can't live my life feeling guilty about it because, it's just something I do. It's not, it's just pen and paper. It's not fucking real. If you feel it's real, I feel like that's more of a reflection on them and their own ignorance. But yeah.
Especially in today's world, man. I mean, it definitely it's rough, man. Like, anything anybody says is just taken way out there, and it like you said,
there's no context,
Yeah, it's hard to separate the art from but you have to, man. Like if you, I don't know, I think that you have to, like if you really love music and whatnot, you gotta look past that stuff. I mean, I cannot expect.
You can find flaws with anyone. That's what I mean. Like if you're gonna do that, then like you can go after whoever. It doesn't even matter.
Right.
Well, and they're not looking at their own version of what they consider art as well. You know what I mean? What is it? It has to cause some sort of reaction, whether it's negative or positive. You know what I mean? And if you're causing a reaction, then you're doing your job. And that was the whole idea, behind like the original stuff I was doing. It was like, it was supposed to fucking blow your mind. That was the whole idea. It wasn't serious, but it was supposed to scare the shit out of you or somebody, at least your parents, or you know what I mean. So that was always my vision, it's like, oh man, like if you're ever young, and you're waking up to go to school and you might be singing in the shower. I just imagine, I hope fucking some kid is singing Call to Satan in the shower when the mom walks by and she just fucking rips him out of the shower, drags him down the stairs and burns all his records, like that's in a few songs. I'm like, then you're making music, you know what I mean? But it's not as like it used to be. My dream was to fucking, shock, bring back a PMRC type deal, you know what I mean? See if I can get on a talk show and, you know what I mean? But people are desensitized and people look past it. And that was the thing I was most happy about, it's like people didn't really care that much. I mean, they saw it, the majority of people, but it was a social experiment for me. How far, because people were at the time were saying music is causing, video games are causing people to do this, you know what I mean? I'm like, what if I actually just fucking outright say it? You know what I mean? Not like Marilyn Manson where it's an image but the fucking lyrics don't say anything. What if I just give them what they want. And nobody did anything. They just listened to it and enjoyed it. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody went out and fucking started turning over gravestones and shit like that. You know what I mean? Right. And I'm not even going to some of the other stuff I suggested. And so there is no power of suggestion in music, like they want to say. They just want to blame somebody. So I was like, here, if you want to do it, here it is. You know what I mean? But nobody did anything. So failed experiment. So.
All right, I got some questions for you guys from the listeners. Lady Red wants to know, have you ever played in any haunted venues?
I don't know, but I've done Europe a bunch of times, so I have to have played in some haunted venues. I've played in venues that looked like they were haunted or looked like they were out of a fucking horror movie. You know what I mean? Like some places where I was like, I don't know if I even want to be here. This place creeps me out. But I don't think I've ever played in any place that was haunted by ghosts, put it that way.
We recorded the first hour of 13 in a church. It was a gutted church turned into this amazing studio. Actually, there's some video of it from online still on YouTube somewhere, but I forget how to find it. But and Chad and I were convinced that, like, you know, if anybody's going to get struck by lightning, like, we are here right now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we went through the whole church, you know, singing all that shit, and nobody cared, you know. And then he and I were at we were at a Neurosis show at a Masonic temple. And so we had access to the whole place, you know, and we were just trying to, you know, get lost in it. We took a bunch of pictures. Our original promos were all done at that Masonic building, but no, not really. But some really cool buildings, some really cool places, yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah, there's we have some pretty crazy places around here. I'm in Jackson, Tennessee.
Oh, right on.
We go to cemeteries and stuff like that every now and then just to go find old weird shit. And there's this one that's got this old abandoned church on it that's just fucking dilapidated and windows are busted out of it and everything. Like, I don't know if anybody, somebody goes there, because we went in there to check it out just to look at it and take pictures and stuff, and there was like pentagrams and stuff fucking on the floor and candles fucking burned like wax.
Yeah, some bad boy shit.
So yeah, it was something's been going on in this place, man.
Yeah,
you know, the whole idea of like Vestal Claret, which you know became Hour 13. Like I was so interested in that stuff, man. I've provoked the fucking devil and God to do something for fucking years, and nothing's happening. I'm telling you, dude, it's all bullshit. Like if anybody, what more do I have to do or say? Like, you know what I mean? And there's stuff that I won't even tell people I've done. But no, I'm a disbeliever at this point. Like, I don't know what I got to do to get some attention, but I'm not getting it. So.
Hell yeah. Next question. Vicky wants to know, what do you prefer, bloodbaths or showers?
You might have to tackle this one, Phil.
Oh, God. Showers, man. Come on.
Yeah. You know what? Like, I'm a 41-year-old man. I just prefer a shower at this point. You know?
No time for fucking bloodbaths.
No, I got no time.
It's like, you know, I had a conversation with somebody very close to, I'm not going to say who they are, but Justin knows them as well. And we had a conversation about that. I mean, that stuff, yeah, you grow out of those ideas. You know, you experiment, you play with it, and you just like going, you know, and then you realize it's like, it's just kind of silly fun and games. Like, you know what I mean? That, yeah, and then it's like all this stuff
I've done crazy things, but never had a bloodbath. You know what I mean?
All this stuff I've done like tons of research before I like started touching onto it with lyrics and stuff, and it was because I was just real big into it. You know, reading all these books and you know about the FBI searching for satanic cults and all that stuff, and it's all just propaganda. You know, it's like when I grew up in Texas in a gated community, and they used to tell us about the satanic cults, and that's what kind of got my interest because I was very young. But that was a way to keep the kids from, they're like, you cross the fence, the satanic cults are going to come by in a van, they're going to take you away, right? That's all we ever heard, and that was the way to keep us from, going outside the gate and playing out in the fields and and the farmland and shit like that, but it's no one's ever really, unless they're psychotic, you know what I mean? It's like, but it's not real. So
yeah, I mean, I'm old enough to remember the 80s, and I remember the whole satanic panic thing and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean,
it's awesome. It's an awesome idea. I mean, it's so
sick. Cool. Yeah, it rocks. Yeah, for sure.
But it's just, there is, like I say, there's you have to be a Christian to believe in Satan. Satan is a Christian idea. There's no text outside of that, that explains it. You know what I mean? So you can't have both. So anyway. I don't know how we got on this. I thought we got away from this. I told Eric the other day, and I go, I didn't even have to sing about jerking off to Satan for the CP, but I'm still talking about it.
And I'm learning a lot about you from this interview.
Oh God, you know I don't do them anymore.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, I got a bunch of Canadian listeners in here. They're going nuts, man. They're asking, have you guys ever played in Canada, or do you want to?
I mean, have I ever played in Canada before? Because I've played Canada many times. But and yeah, I would love to play Canada. I've always been a fan. Never really played any bad shows in Canada, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about doing a tour with Devil's Blood and Pagan Altar and Hour 13 and going through Canada, because there's no, and drop it down in Chicago, because there's nowhere to go to get to California, worth going. But it never happened. You know what I mean? I love fucking Canadian music. I've been to Canada a few times, but I was just listening to some old Canadian thrash before you called. So, it would be awesome. The scenes there and the music that comes out of there is great, but
sure.
The
band that I'm doing, that band Dream Unending, that project thing, that's with a Canadian guy, a guy from Toronto. So I'm definitely going to be up in Canada when the time comes. So.
Hell yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. All right. Well, I'm about out of questions for you guys. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Yeah, I don't know. Just plug the record. It's up on Bandcamp. It's solemnlament.bandcamp.com, I think. I mean, if you Google it, you'll find it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's just 4 songs. You know what I mean? And the fact that people are really, catching on to it already is a great motivation. You know what I mean? Because we're just kind of working on what we had and working together as friends, and this stuff motivates us to go, hey, now we're like really thinking about doing a full length and getting serious about it. And it raises the bar too. For me, it does. It's like, oh fuck, man, like I really got to live up to this, with 50-60 minutes of music, not just 15. So it makes a better situation the more people respond to it and get into it. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. Same here.
Hell yeah, man. Well, it sounds badass, dude. And
thank you.
Today is actually Bandcamp's first Friday too. So anybody gets on there and buys some stuff from you guys, man, you guys get 100%.
Yeah. Yep.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. If you like it, make that happen. But if not, no worries. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before I let you guys go, can I get you to make a station tag?
Okay. All right.
Whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Solemn Lament, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
I think, Phil has the voice. I have this obnoxious Boston accent. I think that Phil should do it.
You'd have to write that down for me to remember it.
He's got the voice for radio. He should be the one that does it.
I do not have a voice for radio.
No, you do. You do.
That's why I'm an impressionist. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it then.
Do it for me, please.
All right. Ready, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is Solemn Lament. You're listening to Metal Devastation Radio.
There you go, dude. Done like a pro.
Done like a pro. Right on.
Well, thanks a lot, guys, for taking the time to talk to us, man.
Yeah, thanks so much for the interview, man. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Anytime, man.
Right
really appreciate you guys taking the time, and What I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more Solemn Lament for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Cool, right on.
All right, man. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, take it easy, man.
Cheers.
See ya.
There you have it, folks. Solemn Lament, live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your driveways, put them wherever the fuck you can. Make your neighbors fucking hear this shit. Make them fucking hate you, man. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but you ain't cranking it up fucking loud enough, motherfuckers. This song is called Old Crow, for all you old crows out there.